Item number 8, Bike Taupo Underpass Funding Request. Mrs. Claire Charlotte. Afternoon, Claire.
Afternoon, Worship and Councillors. This is just a agenda item requesting some unbudgeted expenditure from Bike Taupo. They're looking at constructing an underpass on Maraca Drive between the hub and the craters of the moon. And they're actually currently doing an application for lotteries funding, and part of the funding criteria is getting some 30% sponsorship from other stakeholders. So they're requesting $15,000 from council as part of that criteria.
So on the basis that if they get the lottery fund. And then would there be any other request for funding apart from that?
Not from council. We don't believe so at this stage from council. So they would only call on this funding if they were successful in their other funding applications. So it's an approval in principle, basically.
All right.
Your Worship.
Councillor Heckling.
We went through all that procedure about a new grants policy. How does this now fit in with that policy?
It's not a grant, it's an unbudgeted expenditure, so it's our asset that's been built. It's our asset that's been built. It's going to be, it'll be...
So we take ownership when it's built?
It'll be vested into council, so you're paying $15,000 towards an asset that you would then obtain. So it's not a grant, we're not giving the money as an operational money to somebody else to go and do something not related to council. And again, it's only, you'd only be writing the cheque, so to speak, once the rest of the funding is secured.
I understand. I just the way I read it, I thought it was a grant towards Bike Taupo. And they do tremendous work, not disputing that, but
if it had
is
been
unbudgeted.
If timing had have been different, it would have been in your annual plan as a capital, just a capital item.
Yeah.
It's just that timing, unfortunately, the annual plan had already been out, and given the way that it works these days, that opportunity was missed by the time they came in, hence it's in a paper here.
Okay. Thank you.
So in essence, we are possibly contributing $15,000 towards a asset that's worth
140.
140k.
Yeah.
That'll be a good deal, doesn't it? All right, Councillor Williamson.
I just support what Councillor Hickling said. I definitely support the request. To me, it's a no-brainer. But
Councillor Christowski.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a couple of questions. I'm assuming they are looking for it to come out of this financial year?
It'll depend, when you actually write the cheque, will depend on when they can obtain the rest of the funding, some of which is Lotteries Commission, but there'll still be a shortfall. They have to go to other fundraisers for it or themselves. So we would, and if you look at the resolution there, it's subject to the balance being obtained. That may be in a subsequent financial year, and if it is, we'll then be able to build it into a subsequent annual plan, but they need confirmation now to go into their application.
In principle, okay. The second question is, just to be quite sure, is this takes the place of the proposed original overhead bridge?
Through the chair, yes, it does.
Okay. And at what depth would this be planned at?
I can't answer that question at this time, but I can come back to you on that.
Would it require resource consent? Thank you.
Councillor Harvey.
And I assume it will be for pedestrians as well? And
Yes.
spelling salt is the wrong spelling. There's no UGH.
Councillor Boddy.
Mr. Chairman, on 8(1) it states that it'll be a two-way cycle traffic. But further down it says both cyclists and pedestrians. And I just raised the issue, we've got no plans of this underpass. I fully support what they're attempting to do. There's one under Doherty Drive which is 2.5 wide, I think it is, in width. Are we prepared to invest in something that we don't know what the structure is going to be like? For instance, I would suggest it would have to be powered. They're not going to have it in the dark, are they? Who contributes to the running of the power and getting the lights in the underpass set up?
Is there any lights in it, Claire?
Through the chair, I would understand that there would be lights in there, but that would be, we can get subsidy through NZTA for that possibly, for the lighting and power charges.
So I guess just adding to that is that, again, this is only just allowing that fundraising to go through, so the detailed design and construction, etc., would have to come back and be approved by us as the asset owner. And so there's an opportunity, obviously, for officers to look at it then, and we can share it with councillors at that point.
So we'd be giving the 15,000 subject to officers' reports on design, etc., etc., etc.
Well, it's 15,000 subject to that other funding, and then as we would, even if they weren't asking for money, if they were going to get the money from elsewhere, as the asset owner, they would need our permission to be able to do this, the same as what you would if you were putting something on our road.
Okay, Councillor Johns.
I'll move it.
Moved.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councillor, I think Councillor Williamson, sorry, had his hand up first. So the recommended resolution that we approve the request, moved by Councillor Johns, seconded by Councillor Williamson. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Item number 9, electric vehicle charges. Claire.
This is quite an interesting agenda item. We were approached by two electric charge vehicle companies to look at installing some electric vehicle stations within the town. Currently, council doesn't have a policy on the location of car charger stations. So really, this agenda item is to basically get a decision on whether council would be happy with either using on-street car parking or off-street council car parking. Two proposals have come in. One is actually requesting to find parking spaces within the CBD, and the other proposal is looking at actually installing off-street car parks on the CBD fringe.
Interesting. Who's got an electric car? Okay, right, questions are clear. Yep, Councillor Stewart.
This is, at the moment, electric cars are very expensive, but it will change and they will become something that is very usable in New Zealand. And so I feel that from our point of view, it would be a really good thing to actually start looking at where we're going to put them and how we're going to have them. My thoughts were the car park at the back of where the not the farmers that sells clothes and stuff, the one on the other side of the road, and that car park elevated there. That was one place that I thought that they would be able to be, not taking up stuff out of the central area, but within walking distance that people could go shopping and do stuff while they are charging their batteries in their car. And I feel that since we're on this major highway between the north and south, I think it's something that we need to look at.
Okay, thanks, Maggie. Any room? Sorry, I haven't sort of read conclusively this item. The room that they take up is a charging unit, and you just drive your car in and.
It's basically the size of a paid meter car parking station that you'll see in Auckland and other places. So it takes up probably they require two parking spaces.
For one car.
For it's two parking spaces, but the actual station goes in the middle of the
Middle, yeah. Okay, so two cars can go. Yep. Well, certainly, I think as a council we need to be seen to be leading the light on this.
The other thing is they actually need to be close to a transformer, so that's another.
So where Councillor Stewart is suggesting what we commonly term as the McDonald's car park?
At the back of the Burger King car park.
Yes.
And there's a transformer across from Briscoe's, but that needs upgrading seriously to actually take capacity for the fast charges. So the one next to McDonald's was the preferred transformer to look into.
Is that in between?
However, I prefer the spaces were actually down the other end where they're not utilised as much by
Whose responsibility would it be if they wanted to hook into that transformer? Would they help to pay for the upgrade? That's theirs, so that's their problem, not ours.
Well, I think in that general facility, I think will be the best bet, and least disruption to day-to-day activity. What do the other councillors feel? Councillor Johns?
Just through the chair, thank you. I had a couple of questions. Did these proposals indicate who they thought the type of person would be that would be using these charging stations? Are we talking locals or tourists, or did they?
Through the chair, there will be mainly people visiting Taupo at the moment, not so locals.
And I'm assuming that they're going to charge people. So if they're going to use our land, would we consider charging them rent?
I think through the chair, I think the best option would be to have some sort of licence to occupy. If we're going to go down that path of using on-street car parks, then we should be including a charge.
I mean, from my perspective, I think it's really great that we're looking at exploring some of these emerging technologies, but I think we need to make sure that we're armed with all the facts. Because I did a little bit of desk research when I looked into this one, and there are numerous councils around New Zealand that have gone into this boots and all on the basis of a clean green image and what they can do, but they've actually found they hadn't quite got the formula right about who it is that's using them, when it's going to be used in the right time. So you can potentially end up with empty spaces, or as what happened with the Dunedin City Council. Got a supplier on board, they invested a significant amount of time in looking at putting charging stations in, and then one of the main petrol retailers came in over the top and said, we're installing charging stations. So from my perspective, I think we should be rather than creating a policy about where we can do these things, just looking at the proposals on their individual merits. They know more about electric vehicles and habits and what's happening than we do, and then judge those proposals on their merits as they come in, rather than run through some recommendations for policy at this stage. Just say we're open for business, what can we do? I mean, there's lots of other really exciting opportunities coming. I mean, I read something about bikes that you can put in the street that people pedal to power their mobile chargers and things. There's all sorts of things out there. I don't think we should constrain our thinking. And who knows what some of the petrol retailers might have planned as well. I mean, maybe just put it out there that we're keen, but look at the proposals on their individual merits.
So just to clarify, they're requesting this to happen.
Yes, they are.
There's two currently.
But we don't have a lot of detail.
We request
And we do. We've got a couple of proposals sitting there, which were specific proposals. I guess they're both asking for different things in different locations. What we as officers have tried to do here is say, rather than look at each of them individually, which means that you get an ad hoc response, we thought that it would be better for you as a council to say, this is particularly in a trial situation, given you are using public land for a private good, this is what we would prefer to see. So the thought process was, if you identified a location, it might be the car park that's been talked about, and then we would obviously enter into a licence to occupy with those individuals, which would have payment and what happens at the end of the term, or if they go bust and removal and all that sort of stuff. And then that would cover off the specifics. If somebody else came in, a third or a fourth provider, then we would go through that same process again.
Councillor Williamson?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. I tend to agree with Councillor Jolin's view with respect, looking at it, make sure, it sources the courses, but with Taupo being like a very central location, it does seem a lot of logic in terms of, going north-south, being a gateway to the north and the south. But also, picking up Councillor Stewart's point about the location, I personally would perceive on the CBD fringe, with things like GPS and that, finding that the location is not the issue for people, not foreign to the town or the tourists. So,
okay, all right, clear. So we've got. So you mentioned on-street car park. It's in the actual.
One of the proposals was for two on-street parking spaces in North Taupo Street, and they have changed it now to Robert Street.
Right, so we don't want them on-street, we want them in the car park.
That's the sort of discussion we want from you to know what's palatable.
So I think my suggestion would be inside the car park, but a licence to occupy, a couple of years trial, and see how it goes. How does the councillors feel about that?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I would oppose that. We've got 4 resolutions before us.
Yes.
I think I'd agree with Resolution 3. I'm not prepared to vote on giving up any more car parks in the CBD or outer CBD area. We've taken enough away as it is, and I think if it's private enterprise, they should do like all private enterprise. And someone said to me the other day, why hasn't Z taken it up? Why hasn't Mobile taken it up? there are other areas within the town environment. You drive to a petrol station, you drive to electrical.
Don't petrol stations sell petrol?
You have petrol. You drive to a petrol station for petrol. You would be driving to a place where to charge your car up. They shouldn't be in the CBD. That's for parking. I believe they should be outside of that CBD area. So I would be opposing any resolution that took any parking spaces up.
The other councillors.
I think it's a great idea. I think we should be encouraging it.
I agree with Councillor Harding. I think it's something we should be encouraging.
Should we not be encouraging it because we supply 20% of the nation's power? The power will be coming from our hydro stations and our geothermal stations. It's got to be good for business for them. So, you know, seriously, two car parks in that huge car park there is going to make diddly proverbial, I would imagine. So,
Just to clarify, you're asking for Robert Street or Ruapehu Street, aren't you?
First proposal was 2 spaces outside McDonald's on Ruapehu Street.
no, not on street. I'm talking about internal.
In the car park.
So that's exactly what we're asking. So we want you to just tell us happy, either not happy, or we are happy and we're happy in this location. So off street.
On street, no, definitely. Off street, internally.
In that car park.
In that car park. Yep. GPS, as Councillor Williams said, GPS, they'll soon find it.
Can I just ask a question or clarify that one company has requested 2 spaces, so every other company, we're going to set a precedent for other companies to take over another 2 spaces. I'm just
Why do they need 2 spaces?
They want to have 2 charging stations.
For 2 cars.
Right. Okay, perhaps we should do. How many companies are going to come and approach us?
There's these 2, and we've had discussions with another business in town who's a retailer as well as a generator, and they want to put it outside their office as well. So, but they haven't transferred to the next stage yet. But we've got 2 in front of us. If you were to approve this, who knows how many others are out there? You've got 4 petrol station companies at the moment.
Zed, I understand, is actively promoting.
Zed are looking at their stations as well, yes.
So why are we competing with private enterprise?
Right.
Which is the very reason that this is in front of you in this form, so that you can have these discussions.
Okay, perhaps we might just defer this and then.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is I think we need some more information. I think we all agree in principle that we support it, but I'm wondering if we should find a different way to shake the leaves out and work out who's out there and what the locations are. I don't feel like we've got enough.
So do you want to go for expressions of interest?
Expressions of interest, maybe, just to
we can
get
do
the
that
ball rolling?
Yeah, then.
So
I think 2, we allow 2 maximum, but
Per person, per retailer?
the best supplier is going to be.
okay.
But if you're going out to expression of interest, we need to say the location,
That's right.
which is a car park, not street parking.
So car park and number of spaces.
Yeah.
So if we're talking 2 in total,
Yes.
and in that McDonald's car park, but down by Briscoe's, is what I'm hearing?
Yeah, somewhere.
We go out for an expressions of interest, and then we bring those proposals back to you,
Yes.
and then you can pick between any of those.
Then if they've got to do some investigations on getting power to the site and all that, they can do their calculations
They've
and.
got their rental expectations and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Could I suggest potentially that maybe Story Place or somewhere down near our library or information centre might be a potential site?
Those parks are always fairly tight, you know.
Yes,
Just
they are,
suggesting that
yeah.
part because it's not fully utilised all the time.
The 2 least used car parks, off-street car parks in town, is that one and the one behind Ebbets, Rebel Sports. Those are the 2 underutilised car parks.
Maybe one in both of those or something.
Chairman, could I have clarification? If you're going out for expressions of interest, is that to the 4 or 5 big energy companies as well? Or are we just going to Joe Blogs that
Just
might
up
have the
to-
system?
You just go public. Yeah.
So you're not going to specifically write to those companies to see where they are? We've just heard mention of Z. So we're going to go down that route, or are we just going to leave it as it is?
I think
They should do their own.
Well, why would we want to if they're going to do it? That's the point I'm making.
Can I just get clarification on that? It would be a license to occupy, it wouldn't be free as such. So
That would be up to you. So they, in their expressions of interest, they'd put forward what they want, and that would be whether or not they intend on paying a licence fee or not, and if so, how much that was.
And just to clarify again, is that when we talk about 2, it's 2 lots which equals 4 car parks.
That's over to you to decide. We need that now so that we can put that in the expression of interest documentation.
That's my clarification question.
So then effectively today we've decided to do away if we continue down this track with 5 car parks. One this morning or this afternoon.
It's a workshop.
Well, we just sold a whole flipping car park.
My point exactly.
All right, okay, so two or four? Two? I'm suggesting two. Two in there, boom, done. Expressions of interest clear in the paper. No big fancy expressions of interest thing, just a clear and concise expressions of interest for a 2-year term or 3-year term, trial, whatever.
A good local newspaper will do a good story on it for us. We'll get some interest.
Okay, so resolution to that effect. Do I have a mover, please?
Amy, so what's the,
Hang on, so what's the resolution?
clarify, what's the wording on the resolution, please?
For expressions of interest for the
two-
supply of
2 car parks.
2 powered, locally Taupo-owned
So call for expressions of interest to provide or to allow up to a maximum of 2 car parks within the, whatever that car park's called, the 2 Tower Street, Robert Street car park, for the use of electric vehicle charging station.
So that's only two. That's one parking station, with 2 cars.
2 car parks total.
Yeah.
So you might get, depending on what you get in, you might get 2 companies that you have 2 separate companies. You might get 1 company that has 2, and you'll get to pick out of whatever that looks like.
And Mr. Chairman, for further clarification, the specific area is within the CBD area. Is that correct?
It's within that car park that
whatever it's called. What's the
McDonald's,
McDonald's, 2
McDonald's, Liquor King,
Burger King,
Burger King,
opposite Plateau.
opposite Plateau car park.
Was going to go.
Sorry?
At the bowling alley.
Oh, it might still be going.
Yeah.
Electric buses.
All right. Could I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Stewart. And seconded by Councillor Kosowski. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against?
No, could I have my vote recorded, please?
No against the power? Yep, okay. Thank you very much.